All right, let's look at the lesson 7.3 together. These are some situations that we're going to look at where we're working with percents and parts and whole. Okay, so um, the key here is we want to kind of reword the situation to fit this percent equation, all right, or this percent sentence. So you're going to have two numbers given to you and one variable we'll call x, or any other letter you want. And then we're going to change it to an equation and solve. So we want this sentence here, blank is blank percent of blank. All right, so we did some of that in the previous uh, problems. So now in 7.2 that is, and now we're going to apply that. So if we can reword this situation into this sentence, then we can make an equation and solve. All right, and we will be using our calculator for this. So let's try it. So here's the story. Fred earned 28 out of 32 points on a test. What was his grade percentage? So we're looking for the percentage. What was the percentage as we're going for there? All right. And we have 28 and 32, okay? So 28 is the parts. We can think of this as the part. And that, so 28 and 32 is kind of the whole. Now, the whole is not always going to be smaller, all right, or larger, I should say. Okay, but in this case it is 28 out of 32. Okay, sometimes we say you have 28 of the 32, or compared to 32. And we're looking for the percent here. That's what we don't know. All right, so 28 is x percent of 32. That's all that we're really asking here. Now we can kind of forget about the situation in Fred and the test and just solve for x. So we rewrite this as an equation. 28 means equals x times 32. All right, and x is going to be a decimal here that we'll need to change back into a percent. Well, now we can kind of ignore the whole words completely and just ask, how do we solve this? Let me remind you, I forgot to mention this. Remember that of means times. Whenever we see of in a situation here, it's going to mean times, multiplication. So, all right. So let's go ahead and solve this. We've got an equation. We've got multiplication times 32. We want to get rid of that 32, trying to solve for x. We want to get rid of the 32, so we're going to divide by 32. Divide by 32. And we end up with x equals 28 divided by 32, which comes out to 0.875. Remember, fraction means divide. So as a percent, we can say x is 87.5%. Now let's check for our rounding here. Directions say they don't tell us what to round to, actually. All right, so we'll keep that there. All right, so that's the answer. If you're not told what to round to, you can round to 1 or 2 decimal places is good. All right? All right, let's move on. All right, next we have a situation. There are 20,067 undergraduate students enrolled at U of O in 2017. If there's 2,298 part-time students, what percentage of the total, is this of the total student body? All right, so this is our part, and this is our whole. And we're looking for the percentage. So we want to know 2,298 is what percent of 20,067? So now we need to change it to an equation. 2,298 is, which means equals x of means times 20,067. All right, so now we can solve this up. We need to divide both sides by 20,000, trying to solve for x. So we got to get rid of this 20,000 that's being multiplied. So we divide both sides by that. We're going to have x equal 2,298 divided by 20,067. And we get 0.1145. All right, and so as a percent, move that over 2 places. It's going to be 11.45%. All right. Okay, keep cruising here. All right, so we got 246 miles from Grants Pass to Portland. If you stopped at Eugene to eat lunch, you travel and traveled 138 miles thus far. Okay, so what percentage of the trip have you completed? Well, we want to know that this is the part and this is the whole. So 138 is X percent of 246.1. All right. So make an equation. 138 equals X times 246.1. Right? And so we divide both sides by 246.1. X equals 138 divided by 246.1 because we're trying to get rid of that 246.1. And so we go to our calculator and we're going to get 5607. So this is 0.5607. We want a percentage, so we're going to move the decimal point because we're looking for the percentage. What percent? So it's 56.07%. Okay. All right, 13% of Humboldt County's population is age 65 and older, about 2% more than the state's average. Now, I've got to be careful here. This is kind of extra. All right, so that right there, we don't really need. Okay, if the population of Humboldt County is approximately 130,000, can't read here. How many people in Humboldt County are age 65 and older? Okay, so now 65 is not really part of our equation. It's just the category, all right? So that's not our important number. What we do know is we got 130,000 and 13%, okay? And we want to know how many people, okay? So we got 13% of the total. So this is the whole or the total, okay? And so that's 130,000. Now, we don't know what 13% of 130,000 is, but let's write an equation. X equals 13%, write it as a decimal. All right, and go use your calculator for that. And this one's nice because you just calculate 0.13 times 130,000 gives us 16,900 people. All right. Cool. A couple more little situations. Shelly goes to California to visit her sister. While she's there, she's going to the shopping at the local mall. Shelly comes from a state that doesn't have sales tax like Oregon. And she's on a limited budget. Shelly has found a pair of jeans that she likes for $45. All right. How much will she pay in California sales tax if the sales tax is 7.25%? Okay, so we're just looking for how much she'll pay in tax, not total. Okay, that's the first question. And then, what is the total cost for the jeans altogether? All right, so we want to know 7.25% of 45. And we don't know what 7.25% is. That's what we need to find out. X is 7.25% of 45. So X means equal 0.0725. Remember, we got to move the decimal 2 places. Of means times 45. And we'll use our calculator to figure that out. So that's the tax. So $3.26 tax. Then the question is, what's the total price? Well, the total price, we've got to add 45. The total is 45 plus 3.26. And that's 48.26. Okay? So total 48 bucks and 26 cents. Tax $3.26. Okay? Should she buy the jeans? Well, we can't really answer that question. I mean, maybe she should wait till she goes back to Oregon, but she wanted to pay sales tax. I don't know. We won't worry about that question. All right, last one. After the recent earthquake in Chile, an estimated 33 million gallons of Chilean wine, or 13% of their annual production, was lost. Estimate the total annual production. All right, so we don't know the total. So X, the total, or the whole, is what we don't know. We know the partial, 33 million, is 13% of X. Now, I'm not going to put the million in there, but we'll just remember that our answer is in millions. 33 equals 0.13 times X, all right? So we're looking for the grand total. Of means times, is means equals. All right, let's solve it up. Well, it's 0.13 times X. How do we get that 0.13 out of there? We do the opposite, right? We divide. And so we got 33 divided by 0.13, and that's going to be 253.846. We're going to round to the nearest million, so that goes to 254 million. All right, so there you have it. All right, so the key again is take the situation, translate into this percent sentence, then use that to make an equation and solve. All right, hope that helps.